Today I'm going to show you what a fit vegan grocery list looks like and how we're able to hit over 140 grams of protein on a whole food plant-based diet. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so welcome to this new video. I haven't made a YouTube video in a long time, so it's nice to see you all again. So here's an example of what my grocery list has looked like for this upcoming week. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm going to be consuming. We even have some pre-made meals here, and I'll kind of share with that a little bit more details later on in the video. Awesome company that we partnered up with. So here you can see we have our protein, our fruits, our veggies, our carbohydrates, and our fat, and I'm going to dissect it down per category and why I chose that specific type of protein and carbs and how we're going to combine the meal. So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to kick it off with our veggie section, our veggie department. So one big thing that's important when you're eating a whole food plant-based diet is to focus on diversity and variety. You can't be consuming the same foods over and over again, which is what I used to do way back in the day when I was bodybuilding. I was eating the same food every day for 3 years in a row. It's not optimal for your gut microbiome. So again, you just want to throw some diversity in there. So typically how I do it with my fiance is we kind of eat up those vegetables. Once we run out of them, we're going to go to the grocery store and buy different vegetables than the one we previously bought, and that's how we're going to include some diversity. So just for this round right here, we have some asparagus, we have some Brussels sprouts, we have some spinach, we have some shredded carrots just to save me time, because I'll be honest, I'm a little bit of a lazy cook. So I absolutely love convenience, and I needed to make it easy for me to eat healthy food because I love convenience so much, because it's so much easier, you know, to order some takeout. So ultimately, I try to find ways to make my cooking a lot faster. So again, pre-cut broccoli, pre-cut carrots, we got some lemon here, we got some bell peppers, we got some mushrooms, we got some oyster mushrooms. Absolutely great texture if you're trying to simulate, you know, like a beef type of like texture. You can soak those like some teriyaki sauce. It's absolutely really good, and it's high in protein as well. So one of the big things for vegetables, a lot of people going on a vegan diet can have their concern with iron absorption because they think that they don't consume meat, they're not going to get enough iron. So one of the things that helps to enhance the absorption of iron in your food is by adding some citrus, vitamin C type of foods to your other food. It's going to help with the iron absorption. So just, you know, cut half a lemon, squeeze it over your meal, and it's going to help with the iron absorption from that meal. So ultimately, that's going to be it for our vegetable section. Again, important to mention that I do have some pre-made meals that I do eat that do have vegetables in them, and I'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. But those are the fresh vegetables that we're going to be consuming for this week. And then again, when we run out, go to a grocery store, buy some different ones so that we can include that diversity. Now let's get into the fruits. Did you know that bell peppers have almost 10 times more vitamin C than an orange? So when you're feeling sick or you have the flu, as we're getting into the cold season of the year, load up on bell peppers and not orange juice. It doesn't come with all the sugar and it has a lot more vitamin C in it. So that's it for my fun fact on bell peppers. I'm keeping it really simple in the way that I eat my fruits and veggies. Currently, I am doing a fat loss phase, so my calories are pretty low. So that's why you don't see any dates or mangoes or papaya or any of those fruits in here. So I'm trying to focus on fruits that are lower in calorie, very high in volume. They're gonna get me that sweetness added to my meals, to my smoothie, to my oatmeal. So we got some blackberries, some blueberries, some raspberries, right? Fruits, berries that are really high in antioxidant, really good at fighting those free radicals and helping obviously reduce the risk of chronic illnesses and cancer, because when there's too many free radicals in the body, creates an environment where some of these chronic illnesses can grow and survive ultimately. So we want to load up on some antioxidants. So those are my go-to, throwing those in some oatmeal or in my smoothie. And then of course you need to have some bananas. I feel like we're just monkeys in this household. We go through so many bananas every single week. Throw bananas in the oatmeal, throw a lot of bananas in our smoothies. Great way to kind of add that smoothness to the smoothie, because I'm doing it with water because my calories are a little bit lower. So those are my fruits for this week. Again, when we run out, we're going to go buy different types of fruits. Typically I like to buy the frozen ones just because it preserves for longer, and I can buy a bigger bag at Costco, but we just went to Trader Joe's for the sake of this video. So we got some fresh fruits. Again, keeping it low calorie. When I'm bulking or my calories are a lot higher, then I'm going to include some dates, some mangoes, and all of these other delicious fruits. And I may have some from time to time, but it's just not a weekly staple in my current diet at this moment. So that's it for the fruits. Let's get into the carbohydrates. All right, as you can see, I'm a very simple man. A few choices on here. So one of the things, I already had some brown rice in my covers here, so I didn't buy any more. But ultimately, having some brown rice, we have our rice cooker, which comes in very handy when you're busy and you don't want to wait 45 minutes and watch the stove while your rice is cooking. We have some oatmeal for our breakfast if you want to make some fresh oatmeal or some overnight oats. Again, it's just a great way to get a little bit more protein and carbohydrates into your day. And then we have our sweet potatoes and potatoes. So again, as you can see, there's not a lot of variety of carbohydrates because I do have some pre-made meals that I will be using, which contain some farro, some quinoa, and some other sources of grains and carbohydrate that are absolutely healthy for you. Again, really rich in fiber, really rich in nutrients. So I just bought this as extra to be able to eat for my other meals compared to the other meals that I will be consuming for the day. So those are my carbohydrates of choice for this week. And then later on in the video, I'm also going to be talking about proportion of how much protein to carbohydrates to vegetables to fats that you should have in every single meal to ensure that you're able to improve your body composition and build some lean muscle mass. All right, again, keeping it simple, we eat a pretty low-fat diet in this household. So all I have is a few avocados in here that we're going to be able to throw into some Buddha bowl, some stir fries. We have some chia seeds that we can add to our smoothies, and that's pretty much it. Again, some of the frozen meals, there's going to be some seeds, some nuts and grains that are going to be embedded into that. So that's why I didn't buy too many fats, but ultimately you can have some walnuts, some almonds, some pumpkin seeds, which are really high in iron as well, really high in protein as well, that you can add on some of your bowls. But we like to keep it pretty low fat in this household, so that's why we only have 2 avocados and some chia seeds for the sake of this video. I wanted to buy too much because I wasn't going to use it at home, so I would rather be honest and genuine. Now let's jump into probably the part why you're here. Let's jump into the protein sources and how we're able to get that much protein in a day on a whole food plant-based diet. All right, let's get into protein. So here we have a few different protein sources. As you can see, some of them are not whole foods, and I'll tell you exactly why I've added them to this list. But first of all, my go-tos are some sprouted tofu and some tempeh. Just because when we're looking at protein, we're looking at the calorie cost to acquire a gram of protein. So let's just say this whole block of tempeh here is about 50 grams of protein. It's about 510 calories. Compared to here, if I would have 50 grams of protein from black beans, I would have a lot more calories because see, it's 110 calories for 5 grams of protein. So you do times 10, it'll be 1,100 calories. Basically double the amount of calories in the beans to get the same amount of protein. Now, beans are really important to have their place, lentils and chickpeas as well. This is why there's some right here, but ultimately some of my go-tos are tempeh and tofu because they have a higher protein content for the amount of calories that they would bring on with them. Now, one thing to mention is the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, the carbohydrates, all of these foods also have protein in there. So you don't need to worry necessarily about like hitting that full number just with these protein sources because you're going to be consuming other protein through your oatmeal, through your rice, through your potatoes, and through your vegetables. Especially if you grab something called some sprouted oatmeal. I think there's 3 times the amount of protein in the oatmeal than there is in regular oatmeal. So just another tip for you. Now here we have some cans of black beans, and I got some one of chili because it looked delicious. But ultimately you can buy your black beans in a bag, soak them, cook them, and it's going to be a lot cheaper doing it that way. Like I mentioned, on a personal level, I'm someone that's very busy and I love convenience, and so when I do have the time at certain points in my life, then I will soak the black bean and I will cook them. But I do love to get a BPA can and getting some organic black beans in there, just because it comes in handy from time to time whenever you need it. So that's why we can have black bean and then a chili just because it looked delicious, and I can throw on some top of rice. And there's a bunch of seasoning already in there and a little bit of garlic powder, jalapeno peppers, so looking delicious. So that's why we have our beans here. Again, lentils is another great one. I just didn't find any at the grocery store, but lentils are definitely a part of our staple. Now let's move into the ones that are a little bit more processed. One of them is some meatless ground. So this is more for my fiance because she's transitioning to eating more plant-based. So it comes in handy to be able to include some of these tools. So basically all it is it's dehydrated pea protein with a bunch of spices, right? So you just soaks it up, cook it, and it's pretty high in protein. It has about 15 grams of protein per quarter, a quarter cup. Yeah, a quarter of the package. So basically this whole thing is 60 grams of protein, and it costs like $3. So it's pretty cheap in terms of like the amount of protein that you would be getting. But again, you don't want to rely on this on a day-to-day basis. From time to time, it's fine, but that's just a transitional tool for her. The other one is I had this amazing company called Loopy. Again, they're not sponsoring me. They just send me some boxes because I really love their product. So basically it's like chickpea, it's lupini flour and chickpea flour pasta. So basically for a serving, it's 15 grams of protein of the pasta. So it would be a blend of carbohydrate because it is pasta, but it also has a higher protein content in it. So this can come in handy as well. If you want to make some pasta with some black beans and some tomato sauce with some of your spices and some vegetables in there, you just got a protein-packed meal right there. Again, you don't need to rely on these things. They're great from time to time. And then the last one is a supplement. So this, I picked this one specifically, and then disclaimer, I am going to invest in this company because this is a whole food product, right? Those are whole food ingredients that were just grounded up, put into a bag, and then sold to the customer. So it's actually a really healthy and clean product. It's crushed hemp seeds, some cacao, got some adaptogenic herbs in there, pink Himalayan salt, cacao, sea buckthorn berry, moringa, chaga, rhodiola, ceylon, cinnamon, monk fruit. Yeah, so just a ton of great herbs in there. Again, adaptogenic properties to it. And because it's whole food, I have no issues including it into my smoothies, and it does pack up a higher protein content. So that's kind of like a diversity of what I'd be consuming on a day-to-day basis in terms of my protein. Now, let's get into the frozen meals that I have been ordering for the past few weeks since I discovered this new company. And it was so good that I had to partner up with them. Again, they're whole food, plant-based, and oil-free. So let's do it. All right, let me just add this. Let me do a special talk on soy. Soy is healthy for you. As long as it's organic and non-GMO, it is healthy for you. It will not give you man boobs. It will not jack up your estrogen. And it's phytoestrogen that's in it. It's not like the female estrogen that's in your body. So basically what happens is you have receptors in your body, especially for women. You have estrogen receptors in the breast. So when there's bad estrogen that comes in from pollution, from bad skincare, from drinking out of plastic bottles, from drinking alcohol, all these things, those bad estrogen will attach to those receptors, and that's what's going to drive up your estrogen levels in your body, which can lead to higher risk of breast cancer and other things like that. And same thing for men, increasing your risk of cancer. Soy, because it's healthy soy, what it'll do is it'll latch on to those estrogen receptors, and because it is full, the bad estrogen has nowhere to attach, and your body can just flush it out. So basically it's preventative against breast cancer for women and prostate cancer for men. So I highly recommend that you consume some soy unless you are allergic to soy and you've gotten tested and you're allergic to soy, right? So let's put that little disclaimer out there. If you're allergic to anything, don't consume it. Now, the other part with soy, with tofu and tempeh, is some people are a little bit weirded out by the texture. So most people can enjoy some tofu because they can put it in the air fryer, they can throw some spices in there, they can make it, add it into a stir fry, they can make a tofu scramble. Tempeh is the one that people have a little bit of a harder time with it because the texture is very different. It's basically fermented and it's whole beans compressed together. On a personal level, I absolutely enjoy tempeh. I love the texture. I love the crunchiness of like all the beans throughout it. So ultimately, you can throw it in the air fryer with some spices and it tastes absolutely delicious. But if you're not a fan of tempeh, then just stick to soy, especially sprouted soy, because it has a higher protein content than regular soy. But the most important part, just make sure it's organic and non-GMO, and you'll be more than fine, right? I have a lot of my friends that are vegan athletes, just like myself, competed quite a few times, and we have no estrogen level. We got our blood work tested. My testosterone is actually really high, so there's no counterproduction to that. If you want to learn more on that, on this YouTube channel and on my podcast, I did record an episode with Dr. Matthew Nagra and Dr. Michael Greger and Dr. Clapper. Not familiar with who these people are. They're just really popular doctors in a plant-based space where we talked about the benefits of consuming soy products for your health, right? So I'll try to link some of these episodes down below in the description. Now let's actually get to the frozen meals. All right, let's get to these delicious meals. Again, like I mentioned, it's a company that I discovered a few weeks ago, and it was so great that I had to partner with them to help our members with their meal prep. So ultimately, they're whole food, plant-based, they're oil-free, and they also have SOS-free meals. So what that means for people that are not familiar with that, salt, oil, and sugar-free meals. Just give you a few examples. We've got some cream, corn, and farro bowl. All of their meals consume about over 20 grams of protein that are whole food plant-based, so there's no fake meat, fake cheese, fake chicken, or anything like that in there. So this one gets some farro, again, great source of carbohydrate, sources of protein as well. Got some yams, some broccoli, some corn, some grapes, some watermelon, some radish seeds, some ginger, some curry powder, some dried date powder, some sesame seeds, some pepper flakes, some flax seeds, some hemp seeds in there, some asparagus. That's just an example here. We have some savory mushroom bolognese. I'm French. Apologize if I butchered that. But basically, it's you know, some pasta and a bunch of vegetables and sauces. Get all American burger, which is some black beans, some chickpeas, and some corns. got seasonal harvest bowl. These meals are absolutely delicious. And the reason why I partnered up with them is because I've never found any other company that provides meals that are whole food plant-based without oil and that are actually affordable. The average cost of their meals is around $12.50 to $13 per meal. If you look at some of the other meal prep companies, and all the other ones that I looked at that were vegan, were high in oil, were high in salt, were high in fake meat content, because that's what they thought that they needed to hit the protein content for the meal, and it costs around $14 to $15. So what I did is I partnered up with them to give a discount to our members and through you guys, my listeners. So there's a link down below if you want to try out some of their meals. You can use the code FITVEGAN and it'll give you $30 off your order. So that's like over 2 meals for free that you get to try and experiment with and see if it's something that works for you. Can absolutely love these meals. I use them on a weekly basis for those times where I'm in a time crunch and I didn't have time to meal prep. It's a lot better for me to grab this because, again, this is a whole food meal that they just suck out the oxygen from it so that it can preserve without having to add salt or anything else in there. And then they freeze it so the shelf, the duration of this is good for up to 14 days, I believe. If it's frozen, it can go up to a little bit longer. But again, this is a whole food meal that if you were to make at home for a really low cost, and on those days where myself and my fiance kind of get busy with work and we want to order food out, it's going to cost us about $20 to $25 each for a meal. Now for 2 meals for $24, $25, I can get a meal for the both of us. So it's a lot cheaper to have this handy in your freezers. Again, the link will be down below for you to check it out. All right, everyone, that is it for this video. So hopefully you found it helpful. If you have any questions for me, be sure to ask them in the comment section below. I will be live in the chat once this video goes live, 30 minutes after it does, to be answering your questions. So if there's anything, ask them down below. And I want to make sure that you feel supported. Now, the other thing I want to mention is we do have a free Fit Vegan community that you can have access to. So there's a link in the description, down below. There's a link in the description where you can join our free Fit Vegan community. I do some live trainings on there. There's some cooking on there. We're giving away free recipes. There's an awesome community of people that are there to inspire each other to be physically active, to eat more whole food, plant-based. I would say it's a split of people that are veg curious, that are vegan, and it's really beautiful to see everyone come together and support each other. I will also be doing a live Fit Vegan masterclass every single 2 weeks. So by the time this video launches, the next masterclass will be about in a week and a half. So there's going to be a link down below for you to register for that. Again, absolutely free. I just want to be able to provide some value. For those of you that are newer to my page, I have my personal mission of wanting to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, disease-proof their bodies on plants by 2033 and 1 million by 2050 in honor of my grandfather, my ex-partner that I lost to cancer. And so this is just me wanting to give back and support the community and helping people eat more plant-based and ultimately reduce their risk of dealing with any of these chronic illnesses that could easily be prevented through whole food plant-based diet and being moderately active and having a healthy body weight. So hopefully this video was helpful. I will be posting once a week. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel to be notified when new videos come out, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.